Update now to a story we first told you about right here yesterday on the Valley Today. The Grand Forks School Board holding a special meeting last night that left an elementary school principal now without a job. The board voting 5-4 not to renew the contract of Ben Franklin Elementary Principal Joshua Mailhot.
A school board memo lists several concerns about his performance. However, his personnel file lists no complaints until a couple of months ago, and he was never put on any type of formal improvement plan.
And I'm just wondering if between December and April, there was an opportunity for an improvement plan or a letter of reprimand other than the one that was received on April 10.
If you're asking me if there was a formal improvement plan, no, there was not.
So that was Matt Bakke answering that question there, the assistant superintendent and person behind Mailhot's recent observations.
Because he's been with the district for less than 2 years, Mailhot does not get a non-renewal hearing and does not have the right to argue his case.